What's going on, everyone? My name is Sherwin and I got a big smile on my face because I finally found the time. The weather is cooperating because we've been having a lot of rainy days lately, so that I can record this video and bring to you the 1-year Rivian review, the Rivian R1T review. So I'm very happy and I'm very excited to share with you the things that I have experienced in this truck for over a year, because I'm recording this sometime in May. So I took delivery of this truck March 27th, 2024. So it's a little over a year. And how I'm going to break down this video, we're going to just go over what the trim level is and options that I got for this truck. We are also going to go over my likes, my dislikes, everything in between. Like if it doesn't fall under likes or dislikes, but just whatever's category. We're going to go for a drive and talk about the driving experience, the accessories that I gotten on this, and we're going to go over some of the trip data. Just you know, since taking delivery, we're just gonna look at like the totals and everything. So let's get started. This is a 2023 Rivian R1T Dual Motor Performance, 21-inch road tires and wheels, and it's the large battery pack. I think that's about 133 kilowatt hours usable. If I charge to about 100%, I get roughly 363 miles, but I rarely charge to 100%. This is a Gen 1. I got this with, I think, like 49 miles on the odometer, so I think it was moving around. It is a 2023, but I took delivery March 2024, so they had inventory just lying around. So this is Gen 1, like I said, and the difference between Gen 1 and Gen 2 is basically a lot of the stuff came standard with this truck. Unlike in Gen 2, they became options. So things like the audio system is like standard. There is no standard or premium. It's just, there is no option. You just get what, you know, that is. And for this particular one, I think I have the elevation. The original Gen 1s came with Meridian, then they switched to elevation. I hope I'm not switching them up. And then the Gen 2s, they have their own different thing. It also came with the air compressor and camp speaker at no additional cost. So a lot of things are just standard in this truck. The wood finish is no additional cost. Now for the Gen 2, things that are option are like the air compressor is not included, the camp speaker is not included. The audio system, you have standard and you have premium at additional cost. They have this thing now called a dynamic roof, where the opaqueness, is that a word, changes. And then they have like a dynamic roof / sound and vision like package also, where you get both premium audio and also the dynamic roof. They also have a bright and dark out package. Like all this stuff are options in the Gen 2 that was not available in the Gen 1. Also, the Gen 1 had an option for 21-inch road tires and wheels, which no longer exist in the Gen 2, and I'll talk more about that later in this video. So I did lease this with 12,000 miles a year for 3 years, and my payments are, it was $813 and then it went up to like $824. So I don't know what happened there. But I do have a lease video talking about all of the deals that I got with it. The limestone color is an option that you have to pay for, but during the time I took delivery, I was able to get it for free, and I love the limestone color. My first choice was Canyon Red, but limestone just stood out for me, and everything just lined up, and that's what I chose. So as of today, time of recording, we have driven 10,614.3 miles, and then you just subtract 49 miles because that's what came on the odometer. but my mile per kilowatt hour is 2.58, and I have used 4,180 kilowatt hours of energy. I will put up on the screen what that equivalent is to watt hour per mile, and I'll also put up different electricity rates and cost, just if you're wondering how much it would have cost for me to charge 4,180 kilowatt hours. So we're going to go over a list of the things that I like about this truck, and the first thing is the build quality. Compared to my Tesla, at least just picking on the Model X and the Cybertruck, the build quality on this truck, this R1T, has just been a lot better, a lot better than the Model X or the Cybertruck. The issues that I've had though, as far as build quality, is just this this trim right here. I have a couple of videos with Rivian service where I had to bring it in because this was popping up, but as you can see now, it's there. It's not an issue anymore. I had to go back, I think, twice, but that's pretty much it as far as the build quality. And speaking of quality, there only has been like 2 big issues as far as like recalls. Well, see, that's weird because they don't really call it a recall. They call it a campaign, I guess. I don't know. It's weird how they talk about these things or label it. But the first one is the 12-volt battery, which is located here. In some of the Gen 1 R1 models, they came with 2 12-volt battery. Mine in particular only came with 1, and they came out, mobile service came out, they removed that shroud and replaced the 12-volt battery at no cost, and I didn't have to go to the service center. It was a proactive campaign, they said, because they found that some models were having issues with the 12-volt battery. The next issue is regarding those knuckle on the hub, the knuckle bolts. I don't know if you could see it, but basically there are like bolts on the other side of the tire that holds the hub in place. While we were in Anza Borrego, one of the bolts loosened and came out. It didn't fall out, it just came out, so it was just dangling. And as I was driving, the wheels were turning and the bolt was hitting my half shaft and it was making some noise. And fortunately, we were already on our way out. I have a video, actually a couple videos on that to go over all that issue, but it was a warranty related issue. It is still considered a campaign. If you have a Gen 1, please go and get that checked out because it's a very common, I'm not going to call it an issue, but a common campaign. I'm going to use their words. Get it checked out. Also, the 12-volt battery, from my understanding, is common enough for you all to go get it checked out. All they do is just going to swap out your battery. But yeah. Go check out that Anza Borrego video, but Rivian took care of it with the warranty. I had to get it towed. So even though I had less issues with this Rivian than the Cybertruck or the Model X, at least the Tesla didn't, well, I wasn't really stranded, but at least I wasn't in a position to get towed. But yes, Rivian took care of everything, no cost to me, except my time and an additional adventure and content to share with you all. So the next like is the interior. Love the interior. It's not a simple design, and that's not to say that simple design is bad, but I just feel that this has more character. But check out the seats. It looks really nice. It has the Rivian lettering right there. This is vegan leather, and it has perforation because the front seats have ventilated as well as heated seats functionality. The rear only has heated seats. One of the things that I really love about this also is it still has the manual door release or door unlock. I just prefer it. I don't know. I just like it. Unfortunately, the Gen 2s have push buttons similar to Tesla. That's one thing I wish they would have kept, but I don't know. Apologies for some of the dust and stuff. I don't clean my trucks. I like it dirty. But yeah, so I like the factory or OEM floor mats. I do like them, but they're not as functional as the aftermarket ones, but I just like the way they look. The kids don't ride here as often. This is primarily my vehicle, so I don't have to worry about getting things spilled on there or whatever. Here is the rear second row. The seats are very similar to the front. And the USB-C ports are actually placed better. So there's like one on each seat right here, and there is a couple down there as well, and there's also an outlet down there also. But yeah, I have my makeshift towel here because I had to bring the dogs to get their groom, so that's why I had it here. But yeah, I mean, I really like the interior. I don't know what else to say about it. It's not a simple design, which is good for me, but I also like the Tesla simplistic design. Okay, so the next thing I love the gear tunnel. So to open it, there's these buttons on both sides. You press this and you open it manually. So let's open the other side and we're gonna take a look at it. And as you can see, it goes all the way through. So because I don't have a tonneau cover, it didn't come with one. That is just more space for me to use so that I can keep things dry. I could keep things protected because these are lockable. So when the car is locked, this is also locked. And what's really awesome with this is there is a 12-volt outlet right here and a 110 outlet on the other side. So sometimes if my kid wants to bring his scooter, the smaller scooter anyway, I could plug that in here and charge it while keeping it dry and keeping it protected. I've seen some other accessories like slide out trays where you could put maybe a jack or your cooking accessories and things. You can also store it in there. I've seen some really nice ones, but I really love this. You could put like long umbrellas, so if you take a trip on the beach, you don't have to worry about it sticking out here in the bed because this bed isn't really that big, and we'll get into that later on. But yeah, we've kept the beach umbrellas here. We've stored some foldable chairs in here because sometimes they're not as heavy and they may fly out in the bed because again, I don't have a tonneau cover. But there's so many use cases for this gear tunnel. This is also accessible from the second row. You just open this, which is where the cup holder is at, but you could reach in there. You could keep a cooler in there, and if you have an electric cooler, you could keep it plugged in as well, and you could just reach in there for drinks or snacks and keep it cold. Or if you have an electric like warmer or whatever, keep things hot, you can also keep it there. But yeah, love this gear tunnel feature in this truck. The thing is though, you have to just be careful because these are very sharp. You're not going to have a good day if you hop down and get your leg caught onto that. So yeah, these areas are fairly sharp. The other functionality of this step is this is how you get onto the bed of the truck. You're gonna notice that there isn't really a bumper here. So many trucks have bumpers and also a place where you could step on this tailgate when you want to get onto the bed. I mean, you could lower the truck and get on, like on kneel mode, but there isn't really an easier way to get on. This is the way to get on to your bed. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is the Frunk. This Frunk is huge if you want to compare it to the Cybertruck. Actually, a lot of Frunks are bigger than the Cybertruck Frunk. But a couple of things I want to say about this Frunk is it is powered, power open and power close. The button is located right here. It's not really in the center, but it's more towards the passenger side. You can open and close it there. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you could store here. This is also 2 levels. So there's even more storage underneath. I just have too many things on the top part. But yeah, I don't know if you could see that. But there's 2 levels. There is this thing here. Now in the Gen 1, there is a magnet here. There's a magnet so you can keep the, I guess the base or the platform held up, and you have access to make it deeper. So this thing is just, it's big. I love this Frunk space. This is where your windshield wiper fluid is at. So don't forget, that's one of the maintenance that you're going to need to do with an EV. Not much maintenance, but that's one of them. So yes, the Frunk is big. Junk in the Frunk. The next thing I wanted to show you is the dual screens. Check that out, dual screens. Love that. Cybertruck, why did you not come with it? I could see why Model 3 and Model Y don't have it, but the Model S and X has it. Cybertruck don't got it. But all R1s, R1T and R1S have the dual screens. What I love about it is it has additional information on here, and you have more information in the main screen as well. So one thing that can be displayed here is the cameras get turned on when you have your turn signals. So if you have your left turn signal, the camera will get enabled here, or right turn signal, the camera will be enabled here. That's one of the recent updates that was added, one functionality. The Model X and S are barely getting it in the spring 2025 update. But I'm going to talk more about that later in a different section. But yes, here it has so many different options you have here in the main screen. This also can display both your miles and your percent in range. That's something that I really love about Rivian. It also has your ride height, where it's currently set at, whether it's high, standard, or low. So since taking delivery, Rivian has been releasing software updates on a monthly basis. Like, it's been insane. Even though I do consider it behind with Tesla's software, there's just so much more room for improvement that every month there just has been a lot of improvements for the most part. And again, when we get to the other section, we will talk more about it. But there has been some new features that have been taken as an idea from Tesla. Such as the rear or side mirror tilting when you're in reverse, the auto cancel of the turn signals has finally come to the Gen 1. So things like that, a lot of features that didn't exist when I took delivery that now has become part of the truck because of the software update. And it is over the air, it's free, no additional cost, just improvements that have been added to the vehicle since taking delivery. Lots of really neat features, a lot of convenience added. Currently, we are running version 2025.10.01. There is an update on its way this month of May coming in. So have not gotten that yet, but I'm pretty excited because there's some things in there that are improvements let's just say, improvements. So I really love the UI. It's very easy to use. When comparing, I'm going to compare with the Cybertruck simply because these are both trucks, but you have your on-road and off-road options right here. This is a performance model, so I have additional options here for like sport that you don't get with non-performance dual motors. But it's really easy to use. You have your ride height adjustments here, and you can change your drive modes fairly easily here. And there's different animation types over here too. So for instance, if we want to switch to sport mode, we click on this button and it's going to lower your ride height. And it's going to change, look at that, the animation here. And what that does is it stiffens up the suspension, it lowers your ride height, and you could adjust all of this stuff also, but this is like a preset mode. But again, if you want to change the ride height on sport mode, you can, and you could also change like your regen settings and everything, and change your stability. So it's just a preset that you can switch to. There is also an off-road mode, and it's going to ask you like, oh, are you sure you want to go on off-road? Yes, we want to go off-road. So what that does is it changes my ride height, it changes the suspension feel, it changes a bunch of different settings as well, but you can also change everything. Now with off-road mode on, you are default to standard ride height, but you have 2 additional ride height settings. You could change it to high and highest. If you have it on highest though, you are limited to 20 miles an hour, so just be aware of that. Also, this allows you to change it to soft sand mode and rally mode. Rally mode again is only available if you have the performance package. So a lot of really different drive modes. You can change it. So if you go to rally, you can see that the different animations and images are going to be changed. And again, all that stuff is there. Soft sand mode is really fun. Yeah, look at that. I love that. I love this UI. If you haven't driven on soft sand, man, it's so much fun. Both Cybertruck and Rivian, it's really fun. But we're gonna switch it back to on-road, and we're going to go to all-purpose. But yeah, very simple UI. Really love that. So with dual motor, make sure you do your tire rotation so you could swap the rear to the front, because your front ones are gonna get worn a lot quicker with dual motor, being that it's gonna be using the front motors more often. The quad motor Gen 1s, there is a conserve mode that forces it to do that. Otherwise it's gonna run all 4 motors. So with dual motor, there is no conserve mode. You just have to be aware that the front motor is always running. That is why you see the temperatures, it's warmer on the front motor than it is on the rear. I do want to mention that when you are charging, the battery temperature is not displayed, unfortunately. Now I have taken this on a good number of road trips, and what I do notice is that the arrival state of charge is a little bit more accurate than my Teslas. I don't know why Tesla can't get it right, but it does adjust. So as I'm driving the Tesla, when I'm on road trips, it does adjust. But from the time I start my road trip to where I go to my destination, I find that Rivian is a little bit more accurate and a little bit quicker to tell me what my arrival state of charge is. Now, all R1s have air suspension. The R2, the upcoming R2, does not have air suspension. Air suspension is nice. I've gotten spoiled by it with the Cybertruck as well as the Model X. I don't know if I can live without it. I do have an R2 on reservation, someone had ruined it for me, and now I'm like thinking about it. But I recently test drove the Lucid Air. It doesn't have air suspension, and it's nice. I haven't driven the Model Y Juniper, no air suspension, and from what I've heard, it's also nice without air suspension. So we'll have to see. I don't know, but I love the air suspension. Many different benefits from it. Also with the ride height adjustments, that is really great, especially when you are off-roading. Now, speaking of off-roading, oh my God, this thing, it's so much fun with off-roading. The air suspension is really nice. I'm going to mention this to you as a caution. Even though I can do it with the road tires, I've been able to go off-roading with the Pirelli Scorpions. That's where my luck has been really good, because I've been able to go on some light off-roading trips. Some people have had not as good of a luck with the Pirellis, but I've had good luck with it. I have damaged the sidewall on one of my off-roading trips, but so far it's held up pretty good. But man, off-roading in the R1T has been so much fun, my goodness. And just the ability to go off-roading is just a big plus with Rivian. My goodness, it's so much fun. Now, I've towed once with the Rivian. I thought I was gonna tow twice, but something came up. I don't know what happened. But as far as the experience, it has been better in my opinion than the Cybertruck. It feels like I'm not towing anything at all. So I think it's like a 19-footer or 20-footer. I'll put some B-rolls here and show you. I did go back to go measure it. So we're gonna measure from like that end all the way to here. And I think it's like 20 feet, a little over 20 feet. And then if you add this part right here, it's probably another 4 feet. So maybe a 24-footer if you're going to include that. So let me know in the comments how you measure these things. But it looks like 20 feet if you don't include this part. But as far as towing is concerned, I think it is better in efficiency than the Cybertruck, from my experience anyway. But the Cybertruck does have a little bit better software in terms of managing what the efficiency is. The energy app is better on the Cybertruck. It gives you a lot more like data that it displays. But I still haven't found the right like brake setting on the Cybertruck. Than with the Rivian, it just felt like I wasn't towing anything. Do keep in mind I am on all-season tires, so the efficiency is a little bit better with the Rivian. Also, I do get like 360 miles-ish at 100% charge, where with the Cybertruck, it's floating around the 300 because I have the all-terrain tires on there with no wheel covers. So yeah, so better efficiency with the Rivian, but that's because of obvious reasons. Also, for whatever reason, Rivian is able to determine my arrival state of charge again while towing a lot quicker and a lot more accurate than with Tesla Cybertruck. I'm not sure if there's a setting that I'm missing on the Cybertruck. Again, I don't tow as much, but I'm just sharing with you the experience that I've had with towing. I like towing better with the Rivian over the Cybertruck. Even though this is a CCS charging port, I can use some Tesla superchargers. You have to go look on the navigation. V3, not all V3 is compatible, so you have to make sure it is compatible on the map. You do need an adapter, CCS to NACS or J3400. they did send me one for free. Rivian did, but I think they started charging for it. Also, A to Z has sent out an adapter for me to check out. I also bought the supercharger adapter and also the home charging adapter for the Rivian from A to Z. I bought it with my own money. They did not send one out for review on those ones, but I do have videos on those. If you haven't seen them, please go check it out. And all V4s, from my understanding, V4s are compatible with Rivian. Now, as far as supercharging rates, yeah, I mean, you could pay I think $12.99 a month so that you pay the same amount as Tesla owners do. If you don't pay the Tesla subscription, it's like 9 to 11 cents more, but it's still cheaper than Rivian Adventure Network. It has gone up. So it's still cheaper in my opinion, still cheaper than Electrify America and EVgo rates. So it's not necessary to pay. But the cool thing is the subscription is on a monthly subscription, so you can cancel it at any time. And finally, on the likes list, the Rivian community has just been awesome. The Rivian Club, other Rivian owners that I've met, has just been amazing. The experience I've had, I don't even know where to start. I haven't had any off-roading experience until buying the Rivian, and I was hesitant to go, but I went with other Rivian owners and Rivian Club members, and all that fear, all that anxiety went away because I just went with other Rivian owners. So the community has just been awesome, to say the least. My goodness. You go check out my road trip videos with the Rivian Club and just the meetups, the gatherings. It's just been really an awesome experience. So shout out to the club members, the people that I've met, other Rivian owners. Thank you for making my ownership with Rivian such a very memorable and pleasurable. Is that a word? Yeah, it's just been really awesome. Not to say that Tesla community isn't good, but yeah, it's just been really a great experience. Especially being that this is my first Rivian and I don't really go on off-roading trips a lot. It's just been a really good experience so far. All right, so we just had some lunch because I was getting hungry. We're gonna go for a drive and show you how it is. So this is a fairly long truck, not longer than the Cybertruck. Cybertruck is still long, but this isn't really too bad to drive. There isn't really much blind spot, unlike the Cybertruck has plenty of blind spots, but it's easy to drive. There's sensors. It has ultrasonic sensors still. And it's easy to drive. I love it because it's like I'm sitting higher. The coverage with the windshield and everything, like I like it. It's very visible. It still has the stalks. As far as the performance part, I don't use that performance part too often. I don't put it on sport mode a lot because it's a truck. Like I don't, like I want to just drive it like a truck. I'm chilling, enjoying the air suspension and the comfort. Do I use the Driver Plus? Not often. Just like with FSD or autopilot, I don't. I like driving my cars. I didn't buy these cars for it to drive me. I'd rather have a real chauffeur to drive me, and I'm just sitting in the back. But yeah, I don't use it often. I use it, but I don't use it often. So I think that's an advantage in my situation, at least, because I can jump between different cars and not have to hope that their driver assistance software is good. I'm not tied to FSD. So that's not one of the reasons why I keep buying Teslas, and I'm not tied to Driver Plus. So I'm not tied to continue to keep buying Rivian. So I think that's an advantage for me anyway. But I mean, as far as Driver Plus is concerned, it's limited because you could only use the Driver Plus on mapped roads. So not all roads you're able to engage it or enable it. But you do have cruise control, like they have their own cruise control where the vehicle can detect the object or cars in front of you and it can slow down, similar to what my Prius had. So I think many of the cars nowadays come equipped with that kind of cruise control, like smart cruise control, or I don't know what it's called. So at least with that, I do use that. I think I find myself using that more than Driver Plus or FSD. But yeah, as far as driving it, it's very comfortable. Again, the air suspension is really nice. I'm able to adjust the ride height. So this does have rear cross traffic sensors that I've mentioned in previous videos, where my Prius has it, my Rivian has it. Tesla barely got it, and I don't think it's implemented as well as they have with Rivian, because with Rivian, the rear cross traffic has an audible tone, and I think it's more sensitive, whereas at least with the Tesla, it does have an audible tone. It's like a beep, and you could only trigger it when you're like backing up and you're moving. So if you stop moving, like you detected a car crossing behind you, it will not alert you. Whereas with the Rivian, it's going to alert you regardless, whether you're moving or not, whether you see it or not, it's going to alert you. All right, so let's go take a look at some of the accessories I've gotten for the R1T. Some of it have been a sponsored item on this channel, and the first thing we're going to take a look at are the running boards. If you have an R1T or an R1S, this is a definite accessory, a must-have accessory, because it helps you get in and out of the truck. Even though this has Neo mode, I don't take advantage of that Neo mode because I just don't want to put a lot of stress into the bag system. But yeah, check that out. I do have a video in the channel going over the installation as well as my review on it, so go check it out if you haven't done so already. But these are really easy to install with the Gen 1s at least. There are some panels, well, not panels, but covers you do need to remove, and I kept them in the garage just in case, or when I do return it, I can remove these and put those covers back. Very easy to install though, but I do like how these look and I like how they turn out. There are different types because you can get rock sliders. These one in particular are running boards, and there's also Nerf bars. You can just look up the differences between those. This one in particular actually does not cover the jack points, so if you do purchase one, make sure that it does not cover the jack points where the hockey pucks and stuff are placed, because if you bring it into service, Rivian will sometimes charge you to remove it so that they could put it on a lift. So just be aware of that. The next thing we have are these illuminated door sills. It's kind of daytime, so you can't really see them. I'll try to put some B-roll and show you what these look like at night, but they're really nice. They are rechargeable, and I just like them. They come in like a 4-pack, one for each door. So the rear ones are different size, different length. But yeah, I really like those, especially at night when you open them up. It's really nice. So this is one of those must-have accessories also, is this roof shade. I don't know about you, but the honeymoon as far as having glass roof is far over, especially in California. It gets really hot. So I just keep these on for the most part, unless I have to mount my Starlink or any other camera gear. But for the most part, this thing just stays on. I have a video on this as well, installation and everything, so go check it out. Also have coupon codes and all that. But yeah, if you get hot in the summer, definitely get a roof shade and check it out. The color also is very similar to the interior trim. The next one I like is these media mount things. I don't know the exact name of it, but they mount to the rear headrest of your seats. Check that out. So when the kids do go with me and we go on a road trip, they could put their iPads or their cell phones here. And because the USB-C ports are right there, they could charge it right there. So the R1s don't really have entertainment systems in the back, unlike Teslas do. But even if it did, my kids don't even use it because they have their own cell phones. Everything, all their media is already on their phones and tablets, so they don't really care. They don't even bother with it. They hardly use the Tesla on the Cybertruck, the rear entertainment system. They hardly use it because everything is already set up on their phone. But these, they don't even have to hold it. They could just clip it on, mount it here, and you're all good to go. And they could charge it as well. Another must-have accessory is this. Whether you have R1T or a Cybertruck, definitely get a bed mat or a bed liner. I love this. Look at it. I've used it since I've gotten it. Look at the condition of it. It's still great, very durable, all weather. It's just, yeah, I just keep it on here. Even when I do wash it, I just leave it on there. It's all good. But yeah, a lot of different purposes for this, but it's really nice to have a bed liner. All right, some must-have adapters, a couple of them from A to Z, and this one is from Rivian themselves. This is their CCS to NACS or NACS J3400 adapter. This is the official one from Rivian. Depending on when you purchased your Rivian, it may have come free. You just had to wait and opt in for it. Or you can purchase, I think it's like $250 from the Rivian shop. But this is their official one. Next is A to Z. This one is their newer version of CCS to NACS adapter. This one is the newly designed. If you have the older one, make sure you get it replaced. But this one is their newer one, CCS to NACS adapter. And this one is for home use. This is the AC charging adapter because I have a Tesla wall connector. This is to J1772. So those are some adapters you may want to consider purchasing. All right, here comes the dislikes. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, the software. The current software version. So I know I mentioned that that's like one of the things I like is that every month so far recently they've just been pumping out updates. That's great. The last version, like the last patch, the firmware that it came out, they added a bunch of really new features that I didn't think even Gen 1s would get. Here's the problem though. My UI just gotten slower. I mean, it wasn't perfect before. Like, I'm not saying it's blazingly fast and responsive, but it's gotten worse. Opening different windows, there's a lot more lag than usual. I mentioned they added the whole camera getting turned on when I use my blinkers. Like, there's a delay for the cameras to pop up sometimes when I, flip my blinker on. Also, when the auto cancel for turn signals, that's really buggy. Like, I would flip on my blinkers, I would change lanes, it detects it, and then it takes a second for it to disengage my blinkers. Like, I'm already sitting in my new lane and it still has the blinker on. And there's sometimes I would just cancel it myself by tapping on the blinker, the stalk, and it thinks I want to engage another turn. And so it's like I'm fighting with it to turn it off. Like it's weird, but it's one of those things. So now I'm not even using it. I just cancel it myself as soon as I get into the lane. I don't even wait for it to auto cancel on its own. So yeah, the UI has been very sluggish from the last update. I think the last update, even though it came with some improvements and functionality, I think it made existing features worse as far as like usability and just the way they work. It just made things slower. So I've seen some preview notes on the upcoming software patch, and I'm hoping that there's a lot of bug fixes on the upcoming patch, because there is one coming up this month in May. At the time of this recording, I don't have it yet. So the next dislike, I've mentioned it in many videos before, but if you were to compare this to like Tesla, the accelerator pedal just feels heavier. Like the response time too, when you accelerate, isn't as fast as Tesla. There's like some kind of lag. I don't really mind it because again, I don't drive EVs or buy these EVs for performance. I mean, it's great that it has it, but that's not the biggest reasons why I bought an EV. So that doesn't really bother me as far as like the performance, that lag, but it's that weight, that feeling of me pressing down on that pedal. It gets me more tired. And I noticed this when I went to Death Valley, when we went to go off-roading in Death Valley. On the way back, I just felt so tired because I had to keep my foot down and it was just heavier. And you're probably like, a driver plus or autopilot, or what is it called? The driver assistance. Here's the problem. At that time, with the software version and everything, at that time, the road that we were on, it was a highway, single lane on both sides, and there were a lot of curves. And I started noticing I did engage it for driver assistance because I think that part of the highway didn't have driver plus. I noticed it not like slow down for curves. It just maintained its speed because that was the speed limit. It didn't consider that, you know, depending on how the angle of that curve is, you may want to slow down. And so I started noticing it taking curves in a faster speed than I would normally would do if I was driving on my own. So I had to disengage. Because, I felt that it wasn't safe, or I just was not comfortable with how the car was driving through those curves. So back to regular driving, heavy accelerator pedal. And when I got home, I'm like, man, I am tired. I mean, it was a long drive, but you know, I can tell, I could feel that pedal was heavy, and it contributed to the driver fatigue. So that's something that I hope Rivian would take a look at, or maybe, I don't know. And here's the other thing, because there's no adjustments to that, there's also no adjustments to how the steering wheel is, it feels. Because in the Tesla, you can adjust how the steering wheel feels. In Rivian, it's just, that's the way it is. That's not really a big of a deal, but if you're buying this much of a car, I think it's a nice feature to have. I don't think it's necessary, but it's still like nice to know that you have that adjustment. Another dislike is, look at that. See what's missing? No glove box. No glove box, y'all. I'm gonna show you what they have instead. It's actually under the seat. And it is that. It's this guy right here. And you know what I keep there? USB cables, because that's all that could fit there. It's not that big. See? Not that big. There's also one on the other side over there. So it's both under each seat, under each front seat. So yeah, you know, in the R2, they're gonna have dual glove box. So I don't know if they're gonna ever do that in the R1 series, but yeah, no glove box. All right, so this next one is not only a dislike, but a frustration. It's the proximity unlock lock feature. So when you get in the proximity of a Rivian and you have your phone or the key fob, because Rivians come with key fobs. Well, Gen 1s came with key fobs. I don't know about Gen 2s. But if you have a key, not the card, but the key, phone or key fob, and you get into the proximity of your vehicle, it's supposed to unlock, and if you walk away, it locks. Here's the problem with it. When we're out camping or just hanging out, maybe on the beach or whatever, and the vehicle's nearby, it locks and unlocks as I get close to the car and walk away. It also happens at home too. So the truck is parked at home, garage, kitchen's right by the garage. If I go into the garage with my phone, because why wouldn't the phone be with me? I can hear it. I can hear it lock and unlock. Well, I can't hear it lock, but I can hear it lock because it does the bird chirp. But unlocking, there's no noise. But yeah, it locks and unlocks. So what I have to do is, at home at least you could do it at home, by location. So at home, I can tell it to auto lock, but do not auto unlock. That way, when I exit the vehicle and I walk inside the home, it locks because I park it outside. But it's just a minor inconvenience, at least at home, when I want to go in for a drive. Like, I have to pull out my key fob and press the button because it won't unlock as I get near it. Or I have to open my phone up and unlock with that phone app, because again, it's disabled at home. And sometimes the response time, because if it's sleeping, it takes a good few seconds. So it's a very frustrating thing. I don't know if they fixed this in Gen 2, but in Gen 1, yeah, it doesn't happen with Tesla, because the Tesla, like, the doors are designed differently. Yes, the cars do wake up when you're within proximity and stuff, but at least for, like, let's say the Model 3 and the Model Y, actually for all of them, it doesn't really unlock it. It just kind of just says, hey, you're nearby. It won't actually unlock that door until you physically go in and, open it. So yeah, whereas with the Rivian, the doors, the door handles will open. So yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it's a big dislike. And another one that's a big dislike, like, man, Rivian, please hurry with this. The profile, I actually did sort of a video on it. But yeah, the profile thing, if I ever want to let friends borrow the truck, I have to invite them in order for them to create a profile. Everything's done through like an email and everything. Like, it's just, you can't create a local profile that's existing in the car. Can't do it. You got to go through the entire process, like give up an email and stuff. Otherwise, they can't save the seat configurations or the positioning of the seats, the mirrors and all that you can't save it, because you can't create a local profile unless you use an email, register that, and they go through the process as if they own the car. I don't like that. Tesla used to be like that, but they gave an ability to have local profiles. On top of that, this is not really a big thing, but Tesla has profiles that follow you. So at least with that, that's a great feature. If you do create an actual profile, it follows you with Tesla. So if I get loaners, it just downloads my profile onto that car, and like all my seat settings and everything are there, and it's just a loaner vehicle. There has only been one time I got a Rivian loaner when I was in Rivian service, but the profile doesn't follow me. So that's the other thing too. Make sure you bring your key fob or key cards when you bring it to service. They do not have the ability to like remote start or anything like that, unlike Tesla. They're not there yet. So if you're going to bring it to service, do not forget to bring your key fob or key card, because that's what you're going to have to leave behind. You're not going to leave your phone behind. That's your, phone. So don't forget that. Next list is like something that doesn't fit with likes and something that doesn't fit with dislikes. So it's kind of like in between, or like a different bucket. Like, I just want to let you all know. So it's not positives or negatives, but just check this out. The first thing I want to mention on this list is this. This is where your wireless charger is. Gen 1 and Gen 2, same spot. It's trash. And you're probably wondering, like, why is it not in the dislike? Well, it's because I don't use it, because I use the cable. Right here, this charging cable. I don't like using wireless chargers regardless. It's just I like the cables because they're quicker. Sure, it's not as convenient, but that's why I didn't really put on dislikes, because I don't really use it. But yeah, it's pretty bad because your phone will slide around and it'll disconnect from the magnets, and you don't even know, and it's not even charging. So don't use this. Just get a cable. There's a hole underneath here that where your cable can come out, so it doesn't like get caught. So very, very convenient. All right, so the next thing is Connect Plus. So Connect Plus is just like Tesla's premium connectivity plan. It's $14.99 a month or $149 a year. And it's just like the Tesla one, except the Rivian has a hotspot. So if you pay the Connect Plus, you get unlimited data through the hotspot of the vehicle. That sounds great and all, but for us, we already have unlimited data plans on our cell phones, and we use our cell phones as hotspots. So that's something that we're not going to use. And then everything else, like even without the subscription, for me anyway, it already does a lot of stuff. I'm going to put up on the screen what Connect Plus gives you. I mean, there's also like streaming when you're charging or when you're parked. But again, we have our phones that do that. So sure, bigger screen. Yeah, you could stream on the big screen here, but it's just not really worth it for me. And this is a lease, so I don't drive it as often. Maybe if it was like a primary vehicle where I drive it a lot, because one of the features that I like with Tesla's premium connectivity is the remote Sentry mode access, and also the live traffic reporting or whatever, where your maps show the traffic. But here you don't need that. In Rivian's maps, you don't need it. It already displays the traffic information. I don't know how accurate it is. I think Tesla's a little bit more accurate. And because I don't drive it that much, having access to Gear Guard remotely, because that's one of the features with Connect Plus, I don't really worry about it. One thing I do like with my running boards is when I raise it up and I park next to people, that running board actually acts as a barrier for door dings. So if someone were to open their doors wide, it's going to hit the running boards first, unless another truck is parked next to me, or a vehicle that's on high right height. But for the most part, yeah, the running boards block my door ding, so I don't really worry about it. So I don't need that stuff. But I know many people who have the Connect Plus subscription. For now, I don't find a need for it. So the next thing on my list is this does not have a tonneau cover. This does not include a tonneau cover, and it's an additional cost for a tonneau cover. I'm only bringing it up that way because, again, the Cybertruck comes with it, unless you get the rear-wheel drive Cybertruck. But all other Cybertruck trims come with a tonneau cover. Now, for an additional cost, you can get either the manual tonneau cover or you can get the automatic or the powered tonneau cover. I've shown some video on how that works. They've had 3 different revisions of it, and that's just the scary thing about it. I don't know if they've gotten it right yet. And also the functions of the buttons, it's just a one-way thing. Unlike with the Cybertruck, there's 2 buttons, one for open and one for close. So you can go midway, halfway, 1/3, 3/4, it don't matter. Whereas on the R1T tonneau, the powered tonneau, is just one button. So if you press and hold it down, it's gonna go in one direction. But if you change your mind and you press it again, it's going to go in the opposite direction, and you just have to go flip-flop between the 2. And it's also fairly loud. Now, the California Dune Edition, I heard, has a redesigned tonneau cover, and I've seen some videos of it, and it's a lot more quieter, and I think the design has been different, plus the width of the slats have shrunk, so I think that improved the design. Now, earlier I did mention that visibility is better here than in the Cybertruck. And 2 big reasons I wanted to mention is this A-pillar. Check out this A-pillar. It's not as bulky as the Cybertruck, even the Model X. So blind spots in this area isn't really too big of a problem, unlike in the Model X or especially in the Cybertruck. This A-pillar is really a nice size. I don't worry too much. And look at that. Look at that. That is called a rear view mirror that the Cybertruck doesn't really have. I mean, it has it, but man. So this is why I didn't put it in the likes or dislikes, but in this category, because this affects me in a different way. That it doesn't really affect everyone else the same way. So I wanted to mention that the rear view mirror is a regular rear view mirror. Okay, so what is my overall review about this truck? So I've always wanted a truck since I was a kid. I love trucks. I played with trucks. I've always wanted a truck. And when I got old enough where I can afford one or purchase one, there's several issues that prevented me from getting a truck. Number 1, work was far. Work is far. It's over 100 miles every time I work commute. And gas is just very expensive. So yeah, I could afford a truck. I wanted a Tundra or I wanted a F-150 Raptor. It's not a problem buying those trucks. The problem is keeping it, filling it up with fuel, the maintenance, the amount of maintenance. And this is with any vehicle, but especially with trucks, it would just really be impractical for fuel cost and the amount of maintenance I would have to do because of the amount of driving that I do. So it made it impossible to get a truck, not until Rivian came out with an electric truck. And they had opened up a dealership near the house, and now I got it. I got my truck. So because of Rivian, it made it possible to afford a truck. Not just afford to buy it, but afford to operate it. So thank you, Rivian, for finally giving me a chance to experience having a truck, and it has just been great. I love it. I love it. I have 2 trucks, Cybertruck and this, okay? And the reason why one of the reasons why, and I don't want to get too much into it, that I prefer driving the Rivian over the Cybertruck is because it feels like a truck. I think I had a conversation with someone on X, and they're like, why do you like the Rivian more over the Cybertruck? It feels like a truck. You know, the Cybertruck's more comfortable or whatever. And I'm like, but that's why I got it. That's why I drive it, because it feels like a truck, except it's electric. I get all the benefits of it being electric. That's why. That is like one of the biggest reasons why I prefer to drive the Rivian over the Cybertruck. The Cybertruck feels like an SUV, in my opinion. It's more comfortable, sure, but it's not that this is not comfortable. But it drives like a truck. That is what I'm after from the R1T. I don't get that with the Cybertruck, and that's not a good thing, and that's not a bad thing. So that's why there are two different trucks for me, and that is why, like, man, I love my Rivian. And Rivian may not be as technologically advanced. I mean, this is just an opinion of mine when you compare it to Tesla, but I think that's a good thing. It's a good characteristic to have, especially for people who are getting out of a gas car and getting into an EV for the first time. That the shock, that difference isn't as bad, because the Rivian, I think, is a good starter EV. Because there's still a lot of traditional characteristics of gas cars that are implemented into the R1. But at the same time, it's bringing in that EV technology, that modern technology to you, so that you don't all of a sudden like, huh? Because one of the things that I've noticed with other EVs is, why does it have a off and on switch, like a button, right? But, you know, I guess it's good for those people who are transitioning that they have an on and off switch. But for those who are already accustomed to having an EV, it doesn't make any sense. So that's something that this Rivian doesn't have. It doesn't have an on and off switch. So stuff like that. But just the feeling of it being a truck, like a traditional truck, doesn't have that, like, it's not as advanced. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's not that it's not advanced, but then it's not as advanced. I think it's just great. I think it's a good mixture, and at the same time, it's exciting to see the improvements, because there's a lot of room for improvements, if that makes any sense. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you are getting into your first EV, you're not going to be shocked as much during a transition if you pick Rivian. If you already own a Tesla, then, you know, you're probably going to be looking for a lot of features that Rivian does not have. And it's not to say that Tesla's a better car, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess there's a different demographic or a different target audience, but I think having options is great. The next thing I want to mention is that Rivian has made it possible for me to check out the outdoors. I like road trips, but never have I imagined going off-roading. Never have I imagined, you know, camping and stuff. Like, I was born in the Philippines, y'all. Like, I don't want to camp, because that's what we did. That's what we did growing up. No choice. That was life. Like, no electricity, generators, you know, lights don't come on until 6 p.m. because the generator could only run for so many hours. Frequent blackouts, brownouts, and all that. You know, we didn't have like a kitchen. We cooked off fire, you know, like that's how I partly grew up. I mean, you know, when I was in the province. So camping to me is like, why would I go camping like that? I grew up like that. Why would I look for that? But here's the cool thing. You can go and do that with an electric vehicle and still have electricity with you. And because of the off-road capabilities, I can go in areas where I never would have imagined of going because I never had an off-road capable vehicle. So because of Rivian, it allowed me to explore other areas that I didn't even know I would actually like until I was given the opportunity because of Rivian. The cool thing about it, whether you have the R1T or the R1S, same results. Same results. Like, man, it's just amazing. So finally, this is not an affordable vehicle. I wish Rivian would make it more affordable for the R1s anyway. But the good thing about it is they have lease deals from time to time, and that's why I was able to get one, is through the lease deals that they sometimes have. And I think I really got a heck of a deal for this R1T. Otherwise, this was not in my budget. It wasn't. But thankfully, the opportunity came. I mean, I just renewed the registration on this thing in March, and it was $1,220. So it's pretty expensive. I mean, although if you own a truck, gas or electric, it is expensive. It's considered commercial here in California. So registration renewal pricing is just it's very expensive. It's very expensive. Shout out to my accountant. Thank you. But yeah, other than that, overall thoughts, like I love Rivian. I love Tesla. And I'm glad that they both exist. I'm glad that they serve different types of people. They're not catering to the same type of people. That is why I feel that, you know, having both Tesla and Rivian, they're just two different types of vehicle. Yes, they're both electric vehicles, but for what they can do, for me, in my opinion, I think they do different things. Different enough that it's okay to have both on my driveway. So would I consider one over the other? That's really a hard question to answer. It's because everyone has a different reason to have a vehicle. For us, all I know is electric vehicle is the solution for us because of the amount of driving that we do. That's number one. It's going to be a surprising decision if we ever go back to gas. But for now, EVs work out for us. But as far as having a Tesla or Rivian, here's my opinion on that. If you want an all-in-one solution, a matured ecosystem, again, this is just my opinion, go with a Tesla. If you want something that continues to be supported, better build quality, more capable, because these can go off-road. The only Tesla that could go off-roading is a Cybertruck. I know people who have switched up their Model Y to be off-road capable, but that's just a lot more money. But you know, out of factory, like, Rivian is more capable because it could go off-roading. So I would go with Rivian. If you like the outdoor stuff, the community. Other than that, I've been very happy. I've been very pleased with what this R1T has to offer. Would I get another one? If the Cybertruck continues to work, because I have no say in that, and I get an opportunity to get another Rivian, I would go with an R1S, just because the Cybertruck is already a truck per se for us. I mean, it's fine having two trucks, but I really do miss having a minivan, and the R1S is the closest thing to a minivan that's electric for us, with 7 seats and capable of storing more items. Yeah, that, I mean, if the question was, would I get another Rivian? Definitely, I would get another Rivian. I like where the company is headed, the support that it has. This is, man, this is expensive. Is more expensive than Tesla. So I hope in the future pricing goes down. And very excited for the R2 platform and the R3. I have one regret, and that is I should not have gotten the 21-inch all-season road wheels. That is just the one regret, because at the time I bought it, I swear I was not even planning on going off-roading or anything. I just wanted a truck. So the reason why I regret it is the options you have for all-terrain tires for 21-inch is very little and very expensive. If anything, I would have went with 20-inch all seasons or 20-inch all-terrain. I just didn't want to get hit on that 40-mile, you know, reduction of range because of all-terrain. But yeah, I would now, if I had to do it again, and if I was gonna get a truck, yeah, definitely 20-inch, either all seasons or all-terrain, because there's a lot more options with the 20-inch wheels. But yeah, that's it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions. If you are considering purchasing a Rivian or a Tesla, please do use my referral link. I'll have all that information in the video description. All the accessories that I shared with you, I'll have all that information, videos, links, and everything like that, affiliate links in the video description. Go check that out. But that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And do check out all the off-road trips that I've done with this Rivian. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.